Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Impactful Parent. If this is the first time that you're ever here and you've ever seen me, well, hello. My name is Christina, and I'm a parenting coach, and I help parents of school age children turn their chaos into connection with their adolescent. And today we're doing a live, all free, just some parenting advice and tips on things that you actually care about the most. And today we're going to be talking about independent children who just happen to drive us nuts. Or maybe mine. Just maybe my kids drive me nuts. I don't know. Maybe you don't feel the same way. but I have four very, very independent children. And this is going to be all about that. If you're catching it on the replay or even right now, make sure that you subscribe down below and tell everybody about it because this is free and good stuff. So, spread the word. But let's get started. All right. How do I start? Let's give you an example. Mom, stop it. I got it, says my son, who slaps my hand away because I'm trying to help him straighten his collar. And to be honest, I can't help myself. My eyes, all they see when I look at this child in front of me is this 6-year-old boy struggling to get dressed. And I'm standing really before my 16-year-old son, who is taller than me and very capable of dressing himself. But that's not what my eyes see. I see the little boy. And fast forward 5 years from that, and I'm waving goodbye to this same little boy going off to college. But all I see is a nervous child with an oversized backpack and his Iron Man lunchbox. Yep. It doesn't matter if your child is an independent 13-year-old or 17 years old and ready to leave the nest soon. It doesn't matter. Your child growing up can be really, really tough. And when they start pulling away from you, oh, no, tough doesn't even describe it. It's heartbreaking for many parents. So let's talk about what parents can do. Again, if you just joined us, hello, my name is Christina Campos. I'm founder of The Impactful Parent. And every week I give you parenting videos that'll help you in your parenting journey. If you have a particular topic or parenting question about your school-age child that you would like for me to address, please submit it. Just go to my email at theimpactfulparent@gmail.com, or you can even message me on social media your question, and all submissions will be kept anonymous. But let's get back to our subject. Because as parents, it's natural to feel a mix of emotions when we realize that our children are growing up and becoming more independent. The teenagers in particular can be challenging as our children assert their autonomy and navigate the world independently. But if you're feeling like your child just doesn't need you anymore, then you're not alone. Me too. So here are 5 practical tips to help you navigate this new phase of your parenting. All right. Tip number 1. It's really important to adjust your expectations, but stay engaged. Let me explain. I remember when my son was a toddler, he used to push my hand away, right? When I tried to tie his shoes for him. It seems like just yesterday that he was getting mad at me because we needed to get out the door about 10 minutes ago. So I was just trying to put on his shoes so quickly so we can get out of the house. But my son, he wants to tie the shoes himself. He didn't care about my timetable. He didn't even care about being late. My child just wanted to practice putting on his shoes. Now, today, not much has changed. My son still doesn't care about my timetable and is still doesn't really care about being late, but he just wants to practice adulting. He wants to prove it to himself, to me, to his friends, and even the world that he is grown up and he can do it himself. Sound familiar? Sometimes we celebrate when our kids are taking the initiative and they're taking on new responsibilities on their own and trying new things. But other times, your child will pick the most inconvenient time to hold their ground and say, Mom or Dad, I got this. Let me do it. Just like my toddler did so many years ago. But when your child is driving you crazy with their independence or hope of independence, try to work on changing your mindset. See, remember that school age children need a different kind of parenting than younger children. The more they grow, our roles actually should shift from guardian to coach. The older your child is, the more you need to let go of that authoritarian, that boss, that dictator that is inside of you. And instead, imagine your child as a student or maybe a player, and you are their life coach. With this new outlook on the situation, you can see that your child is craving the autonomy that they need to practice adulting. They want to prove to themselves that they can do it, or that they want the practice to get better at adulting so they feel more comfortable when they're leaving that nest. So they can prove it to themselves that they can do it, or that they want to practice getting better. Let them. Just like just like coaching an athlete, sometimes the player wants just to get into the game and freaking play. They want to learn by doing with the oversight of their coach to provide them critique and be there to support them if they fail. And that is what my child wanted too. He wanted more opportunities just to play the game. And to be honest, I was holding him back because I just wanted to get out the door. So I wanted to tie his shoe for him because that wasn't my priority. Letting him play the game, learning to tie his shoe. And this is where our mind shift has to change. We got to allow our kids to do this. He told me to go away, right? My teenager later on in life told him, go away. I got this. But what he really needed me to do is give him some space to try, to practice, and to fail or succeed. Alone. Yeah, alone. The alone is the hard part. But shift your mindset from parent to coach. And this has helped me a lot to take my son's pushback not so personally, and instead see his pleas of, leave me alone, as more of a cry for independence that he wants to practice adulting. So adjust your expectation to a coach's mindset and support your child from the coach's sideline. That is our first tip. Now let's get to number 2. Number 2 is foster active listening. All right. Have you ever tried helping your teenager with a problem, but all they do is roll their eyes every time you make a suggestion? Well, me too. The mistake that most adults make is helping kids automatically. They actually just jump in and they start making suggestions for how to solve their mistakes. And you might be thinking, what? Did I just hear her right? What did she just say? You did hear me right. The mistake that adults make is that they jump in trying to help by suggesting solutions. Now, let me explain. Picture it. My daughter has been Picture it. My daughter has been hiding out in her room for a while now, and I can hear some commotion coming from her room. So I decided to go to check on her to make sure that things are okay. And when I walk into her room, she's visibly upset. I can tell from the runny mascara dripping down her face that she's been crying. And since my daughter is visibly upset, I've asked her if she wants to talk about it and what's going on. Now, thankfully, my daughter takes me up on my offer and I get to hear all about the middle school drama. But after I know all that has been said, and she said, and he said, and everybody said, I started to make suggestions on how my child can handle the situation. And boom, mic drop. That was wrong. The minute parents go into fix it mode, your teenager will or could shut down and they'll tune you out. That isn't what they wanted, you see. Kids trying to assert their independence and want to practice adulting on their own, they don't want to take the easy path of listening to your good advice. And instead, they want to figure out solutions by themselves. So it's no wonder my child was eye rolling at me. I jumped in with unsolicited advice when all they wanted was a listening ear. And be careful about this because if parents jump in with unsolicited advice too often, the child is just going to stop asking you altogether to even listen to any of their problems. So avoid jumping to conclusions and giving unsolicited advice. 90% of the time, your teenager just needs a listening ear. And that's it. Yet many parents ruin that bonding moment with their teen by going into fix it mode and saying things like, well, when I was your age. Teenagers don't care about that. They see your experiences as unrelated because your experience happened over 20 years ago. That doesn't mean that it's not related, but that is the mindset of a teen. They see it as irrelevant. So instead, be compassionate and have us be a sounding board for your child. Provide guidance, but when they ask, learn to practice active listening instead. And this skill is going to be very helpful moving forward in your child's development. All right, that's number 2 of 5. Let's get to number 3. Number 3 is encourage their autonomy and independence. While it may be bittersweet to see your child becoming more self-sufficient, embracing their growth and encouraging their autonomy isn't always easy. I don't want my baby to grow up either. But if you have a kid that's pushing your boundaries, pulling away from parental control, distancing themselves from your rules, and doing their best to be as independent as they can, then I suggest if you can't beat them, help them. Another mistake that most parents make when their child is asserting this type of independence is trying to hold on to the rules and that relationship with a tighter grip. But just like sand, the tighter you squeeze, the more likely that your child is going to slip through your fingers. Now, I know this is completely against your first instinct to hold on tighter, enforce those rules, and get stricter with your child. But these are not always the most successful steps in maintaining the bond with your son or daughter. Many children will only reject these efforts. They're going to dig in their heels instead. And it could even make the relationship between parent and child more turbulent. This is when you're going to get that butting heads feeling. So instead, try leaning in and giving your child what they want, which is more choices. Now, notice how I didn't say more freedom. Just because you are giving your child more choices doesn't mean you have to compromise your rules. What I am saying is you need to look for more opportunities to provide more choices for your child within their day. Your child is actually asking for it. They want to feel like they have some kind of control over their own life. So provide opportunities for them to make decisions and face the consequences of their choices. This will help them build their confidence and actually give them a sense of responsibility. Encourage your teenager to take on new challenges, such as managing their finances. Show them how to work with the money, cooking their own meals. So many different adulting things that we just do for kids, which really we should be teaching them how to do on their own. Allow your child to face the consequences of their actions when appropriate instead of saving them also. Because empowering them to make decisions and learn from their experiences is actually really awesome. It's guiding them when it's necessary. Now, all of this isn't easy. It's so scary to let your child have more choices because it also gives them more opportunities to mess up. However, a trick that has helped me to remember um, to not take it personally and to be okay with this is that I only have a few more years to prepare my child for adulthood. How many more years do you have left? Is your child a freshman? Do you have 4 years? 4 years is going to go by really fast. Maybe your child is already a junior. You may have a year or less before your child moves out. It's your job to prepare them for the real world, and it's better to expose them now to some of those truths and difficulties of life while still under the care and support of your protective home by letting them experiencing all that bad stuff and then letting them discover that bad stuff here underneath how you are guiding them and there to support them instead of finding all that stuff out all by themselves alone at college or away. So think of it that way. I don't know. It's helped me. That's number 3. Let's get to number 4. All right. Number 4 is find new avenues to connect and bond. Okay. Does this sound familiar? Hey, do you want to go for a walk? Nah. Do you want to go play a game? No. Want to make dinner with me? No. How about the mall? Still nah. As your child becomes more independent, finding new ways to connect and maintain a strong bond, it's important, but it's not always easy. This is going to take some intentional effort. Too often, parents think that the bond between parent and child should be natural. But as your child gets older, it will take a lot of effort. Look for common interests and activities that you can enjoy together. This could be, this could be anything from taking a cooking class or hiking or attending a concert. For my oldest son, we love to bond over fishing. This is something that I started doing when he was a child and really young. And then over the years, I continued to use fishing trips as a way of checking in and bonding with him. So that's one example of how you could take an activity when they were young and grow it as they get older. But of course, my second child wasn't like that at all. For this child, I actually have to bribe them to spend time with me. Yeah, this child is ultra independent and always has been because I can't find any similar interests to bond over. I bribe this child with a once a week special outing to get dessert or a free, like I'm taking him out to Qdoba or dinner or something. And it's at the end of each week. So we leave behind everyone and we just go to the ice cream shop or the restaurant they want to go to. And this gives me an opportunity to talk to my child one on one. And my child gets to look forward to the treat at the end of the week. So it's a win win for both of us. But of course, my third child is also completely different. And here I have to bond over video games. Can I tell you? I frickin' hate video games. Yep, sometimes parents have completely different interests in their child. And if you can't find a common interest, you may have to suck it up and be interested in something that your child likes. This is painful for adults, but do it anyways. It is more important to spend time with your child doing something that they love than it is for you to be entertained. Whatever the activity you and your child plan to bond over, make sure that that activity is something that your child likes to do. If they don't like it, then no amount of time is going to put them into the headspace to want to bond with you. So, I sit and watch my son play video games a few times a week. I ask questions about his game. I take interest in why he likes the game, how he plays the game, so he plans to win, who he plays against, and what strategies he is learning to improve his skills. Yes, this is painfully boring for me but my child appreciates my efforts. Now, those are three different ways that I have to bond intentionally with my child. And yet, my youngest is still yet different. And I like to give you that example too, because as we're looking for new ways to actually have that special one on one time with our kids, you got to remember it comes in all different forms and it may not look the same for each kid. But with my youngest child, so different again. So we bond over books and we read together. But that doesn't describe it because actually I read to her. And this makes the reading more special. So a few times a week, my daughter comes into my bedroom in full pajamas and comfy clothes and a stuffy to listen to me read her a book that she has chosen. No, my daughter is not 2 years old. My daughter is 11, and she can certainly read by herself and likes to read on her own. But she allows me to read to her so that she can just sit with her head on my lap and listen. It's very relaxing for her, and it helps her relieve stress too. So some nights I will even read her homework for her if it's even appropriate, and this helps her save time. I give you all of those examples because I want you to think outside of the box and be very, very intentional with your bonding moments. Put them on your calendar and don't just wing it. At the very least, carve out at least 15 minutes daily to check in with your child and talk to them. And I suggest doing this in a car or over a dinner table, just because it makes it look more effortless. And those are times when your child's more ready to speak with you. But in reality, although you're going to make things look so effortless and your child has no idea you're doing all these Jedi mind tricks in the background, in reality, you're doing all these things very, very intentionally. They're scheduled. All right, let's get to our last tip. Tip number 5. Now, tip number 5 is invest in self care and personal growth. If your child is a teenager, it's time to start shifting your energy from them to you. What? I know. You've been sacrificing yourself for years. Your attention and time has been focused on your kids for so long because you're trying to raise good humans that you may have even forgotten what you used to love to do in your free time. And as your child becomes more self reliant, it's an excellent time to focus on your own self care and personal growth. Engage in activities that bring you joy and invest time in your hobbies and explore new interests. Finally, you are at a stage in your parenting that your child doesn't need you for every little thing anymore. Celebrate and take advantage. Taking care of your own well being will benefit you and actually ensure that you're available and present for your child when they need you. So, dedicate some time each week to engage in activities that nurture your personal growth. Maybe join a book club, learn a new skill, practice mindfulness, whatever rows your boat, toots your horn. Stop making yourself last on your priority list. I'm telling you this right now. I'm giving you permission. Carve out even more time for yourself by teaching your child to be even more self sufficient. They want to be so independent and learn all these adulting skills. Then let them. Show them how to cook their own meals, teach them to drive, or make them do their own laundry. Honestly, all these skills, they benefit you both. Now, those are my 5 tips for independent kids. But remember, as parents, our love and support will always be important to your child, even if it doesn't feel like that, or they're not expressing it in that same way anymore. But by adjusting our expectations, fostering that open communication, not giving unsolicited advice, encouraging their independence, and finding new ways to connect, and maybe, just maybe, investing in your own well being, we're going to evolve our parenting and foster this strong relationship with our growing teenager. Now, I hope this information was valuable for you today. So become a more impactful parent by downloading the Impactful Parent app. The Impactful Parent app is free and full of episodes, just like this one actually, to help you in your parenting journey. Because investing in your time and in your family looks like discovering the warning signs of certain behaviors that you could stop the bad things before they start, or discovering new parenting techniques to make your parenting more effective. All of this is inside the Impactful Parent app and it's free, so you have nothing to lose. Go to your phone's app store, search Impactful Parent, and you'll find me. It's got this logo there in the corner. You got nothing to lose with this free parenting resource. So go to theimpactfulparent.com if you want help finding the app a lot easier, and then discover how you can step up your parenting game and become a more impactful parent. Thank you for joining me today. But until next time, you got this. I'm just here to help. Check out all the Impactful Parent has to offer you guys, theimpactfulparent.com. We have an app, we have coaching, we have online courses, so much on there, a podcast. Check it all out. And most of it you can find right here on YouTube. See you then. Oh, and don't forget to submit your parenting question. I love getting new questions from people. Let me know what's on your mind. Have a great day.